Hey guys, all right, so we talked about in this saddle how your hips can be uneven, causing you having trouble posting or sitting trot, even losing a stirrup, and especially at the canter you might notice it with your horse having a better canter side or you having a more comfortable canter side. So we're going to go over some exercises that you can do at home as well to help that, because I have the same thing. One hip will try to raise up higher than the other, and you got to focus on getting it nice and even. That can be from carrying a baby, carrying groceries. It can be how you drive in the car, how you sit in the car, how you're sleeping, things like that. A lot of daily activities can lead to one hip being higher than the other. And it's not a problem. Just as equestrians, we really need them to be a little more straight. Now, some of you may have birth defects or things that cause your hips to be permanently that way. And it's okay. You're going to do the exact same things, just knowing you're not going to actually change the structure of your hips, but you are going to get a little more control in your muscles and knowing where your hips are. So when you're in the saddle, you can focus on stretching down and compensating a little bit better for your hips. So you can do the same exercises we did in the saddle. You can do it on the ground, or you can do it, there you guys are. You can do it on a step as well. So if you're on a step, sorry guys, you don't want to let gravity do the work. So if you're doing something, I don't want you to let gravity just shake that hip down. I want you to stand up tall with your hips square and then stretch from the hip. So when you're in the saddle, I don't want it coming from your knees and just pushing your foot farther down. So you don't want an extended ankle and you don't want an extended knee. I want those nice and soft. So let those go and then rotate your hip down. So pressing down with that hip. I want you squeezing that butt cheek that's down. Focus on the side that if you know which hip is higher than the other, focus on that side, stretching it down. And you're going to press it down, and then you're going to raise it up without letting this happen. So you're just going to raise it up, making sure your hips stay nice and even. Use your hand as your guide. So right now you drop that hip, then you go square, then it shouldn't raise any higher. All right, and go nice and slow so you can actually feel what you're doing. It doesn't really matter how much change you get. I want you to be able to feel it. That's the key. So you can do that one. Then the other one was the press back and forward, getting that little stretch. Okay. So we have a few things that we want to be able to do. We want to stretch it out. So not only your hips are uneven, but that shortens this whole side. So if I exaggerate it and cock my hip up, you can see how this whole side shortens, this whole side lengthens. So one thing we'd like to do, if it's your right hip, I'm going to cross that foot over and I'm going to push that hip down and I'm going to stretch out that whole side. So we want to stretch out those lats. We want to stretch out the whole side, connecting our hip. So this is going to be a really good one. It's very easy to do. You can do it wherever, whenever. Come out of it, push this hip down as you do it, and stretch up. So that's a very nice and easy one that you can do. The other thing we want to do, so we want to stretch, foam roll. I'm always going to tell you to foam roll that whole side, stretch that whole side out. But the other thing we want to do is, since this one is lower, since if this side is lower on you, this butt cheek is going to be working a lot harder when you're in the saddle. It's driving you. So this hip is cocked up. So even as you post, this side is taking the force from you. So this side isn't working as hard. So if you're doing squats, I want you focusing on squeezing this side higher or this side more. But we're going to do it on the ground. So you're going to come to the ground. Make sure you guys can see me good. Okay. You're going to lay flat on the ground and you're going to pull your feet to your butt, okay? And you're just going to do a bridge. So when you do a bridge, right now, you want to make sure your hips are nice and square, so use your hands to help you, and then raise up. And now I can feel my left side working harder than my right side. So this side's just pushing up and then the right side is lagging behind. So if you're doing 2 feet at a time, you're going to raise that right hip and then push up. So you're gonna overcompensate a little bit and then push up with that right butt cheek. So if my right one is my weaker one, which means that side's higher, I'm going to cross my left foot over my right leg. And now I'm going to push off with my right leg. And I'm going to push my hands on my legs, making sure that my left one doesn't raise up. And I try to stay nice and square. As you do this, you don't want to come all the way up and arch your back, but you don't want to just barely lift off the ground as well. So you want that nice, full, straight, flat back extension, hold, and then slowly lower down. This is going to be a great one. Slowly push up. Having your hands here or here will help balance you. And that's going to be a really good one. And then double check it with your 2 legs on the ground, raising it up. So you have your steps, you have your stretches, always foam roll, and then use that glute exercise to build up the right side, or whichever side the hip is higher. That will help you get everything nice and even. So hopefully those help to help lower it out. And even as you ride, so if my right hip is higher, always thinking about driving it down, especially when you're doing left circles. Drive that hip down. It's going to feel really awkward in the beginning, but it will start to balance out. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.